Growing up, the baby PJ learns to be a big horse, featuring the baby PJ, his best buddy Sam, and his big brother Bob. They say horses are herd animals. Well, these three proved it to me. There was a shelter built for each horse to stay in out of the rain. So, whatever it was about this one shelter, the three of them used to huddle in together. And they decided that it's much nicer to be all in one shelter rather than a shelter each. So during the lashings of rain, I'd just check the cameras, make sure everyone was all right. And every time I check the cameras, I'd see the three of them huddled into one shelter made for one horse. Now, the water wasn't any nicer in there, or, the hay was in all three shelters, so I can't understand why the three of them like to squeeze in together. But that's what they did. One thing about PJ is he loves his beauty sleep. And it just, for some reason, seemed a lot cosier with Bob and Sam snuggled up beside him. PJ always looked up to Bob. When Bob turned right, PJ turned right. So when we were tacking up Bob one of the days to go for a hack, PJ was in the field right next to him, and he decides to lean under the gate and grab Bob's tack. And he starts swinging the numna to try and get it on his own back. It was one of those light bulb moments. Should we actually try and put a bit of tack on PJ? No, he was only 2 at the time. He was about as phased as a cat getting a bit of cream. Absolutely delighted to be tacked up. He was even trying it on himself. He lifted up the girth, and there wasn't a hope in hell of us getting that girth out of his mouth. He was adamant it went on his back. We tried pulling it out of his gob, but no. He kept swinging it until we actually put it onto his back. For the laugh, we said, right, let's tack up Bob and try put the long reins on PJ. Sure, look, what harm can it do, and see how he gets on in the field. So PJ thought, this is brilliant. And all he wanted to do was follow Bob around the field. The following day, I happened to mention it to Keith, one of the builders that worked in the yard. He had loads of experience breaking horses. And I just kind of said to him, what do you think we should do with this lad? Should we do a little bit of work with him? He said, well, try lunge him and see how he gets on. So PJ took it like a duck to water. He was in his element with Keith, having him on the long rein, prancing around, throwing a few shapes. We were delighted, actually. He said to me, that's one clever little horse. But we decided to leave it then for a little while, not to mess with his brain too much, because he was still only a baby at the time. He was so chilled, it left us with a little bit of hope. Maybe we'll be able to do a bit of work with him in the yard ourselves before we end up sending him away to be broken in a year or two. So that was the beginning of PJ growing up. Be camper, ready for whatever we put in front of him. Exactly as we would have hoped, with not a fear in the world.